Welcome back, top performer. Do you know that according to research by the University of Scranton, less than 8% of people reach their goals? While that might sound discouraging, maybe a bit sad, you're a top performer and are going to keep that emotional lizard side of your brain in check and put on your scientist hat by saying, well, that's interesting, Michael, but why do so many people fail to achieve their goals? I'm glad you asked. Here are the top 10 reasons why and how we are going to stack the odds in your favor so you achieve your goals, not just once, but over and over again. People fail to achieve their goals because their goals are 1, undefined or unrealistic, they lack a strong emotional driver, there's a lack of written plan, a lack of or loose deadlines, no accountability systems, no solid goal-oriented habits, not in line with their values, or comes down to mindset blockers such as fear of failure, listening to doubters or naysayers, and of course procrastination, which delays the progress towards the goals in general or stops us before we even make it. Now you can see why the number's a dismal 8%. So, how are you stacking the odds in your favor? Over the next several videos, you will define your near-term goals and long-term vision. We'll call it your Career Masterplan. You'll associate it to your emotional driver and then break it down into attainable goals, which you'll document and set actions for. You'll create accountability systems, establish routines to accomplish your goals, and honestly assess if your values and therefore your habits are in line with the next level role you're targeting. As for those last 3 pesky items, those are what we tackle in the Top Performer Mindset training. So you are armed to win the battle against fear and doubt by keeping your lizard brain in check. And of course, you'll keep procrastination at bay by taking action because you're lining up everything for your success. Sound good? Now this program is going to help you achieve your next level goal regardless of if you want to envision your future. But you'll leave a lot on the table and minimize your long-term success by not tying this to a future version of yourself. Why? Well, if you don't design your own life plan, chances are you'll fall into someone else's plan. And guess what they have planned for you? Not much. And this is why so many people leave so much potential on the table. I was recently talking to a client who was stuck. He was stuck in analysis paralysis because he didn't know the right next step for him. Only once he completed this 20-10-5 1-year strategy did he get the clarity and decision criteria he needed to inform his best next move. Now, he's able to hone in on his target and get out of this analysis paralysis. I'm going to walk you through creating your Career Master Plan, aka your 20-10-5-1 strategy. This exercise is designed to work backwards from your optimal life in 20 years, and that may or may not be you working your 9 to 5. Better yet, you will hopefully have multiple sources of income by then. These are the areas of your life that you are going to envision. Where I live, what I drive, a fun splurge or toy purchase, your net worth/finance, your annual salary and the role you're in, or perhaps a business at that point if that's what you're striving for. Other investment types that you'd have, your hobbies, your physicality, what shape you want to be in, maybe you're running marathons, your typical day, what that looks like, your relationship and family status, associations and networks, your contribution and impact, and any other personal goals you want to highlight. You are also welcome to add more dimensions or life areas to your 20-10-5-1 plan. It's your vision.
Your artistic vision.
If you're wondering why we're including all of these details if our focus is generating your career plan, it's because your ability to achieve all these things is integrated with your career and what it affords you, money and time. It also roots your goals into emotions specific to what you desire. We're also capturing business and other investments to make space for future aspirations that you may want to pursue, such as your own business or living off your investments within 20 years, or maybe less. Once complete, you'll have clarity around your goals, life and career, which allows you to better plan with your future in mind. Stay focused and motivated and make informed decisions. All right, let's dive in. I've provided a template link below this video. Put yourself in a place where you're not going to be interrupted. I prefer a coffee shop with some inspiring music. That's good. I also like to brainstorm on paper, so pick your preference. Let me walk you through the template. You're going to start with the 20-year tab. Then envision what you want your life to look like in 20 years if everything went as well as it could. I've captured a few examples of a 20-year vision, one which I consider more aggressive and the other less aggressive, but achievable either way, depending on what your aspirations are. Use them for inspiration if you like, but don't hold yourself back. This may feel a bit like a fantasy, but trust me, it's not. If you prefer to capture all of this in one tab, you can use this one here. Both options, whatever your preference is. Now, after your 20-year vision, you'll repeat this on your 10-year tab. Here, you will write what your life would need to look like to be halfway to your 20-year vision. So if you plan to be a CEO in 20 years, then by year 10, you should be in the senior executive ranks, or at least very close to it, vice president, for example. Now, there are different pathways to this, and you could jump to a smaller company to achieve it sooner, or start your own company. You have to determine based on your own goals what's right for you. Now, if you're unsure, research others who have achieved what you want to. This will help guide you. On the personal front, maybe you're starting your family by then, or perhaps you're buying an investment property on the beach or joining an organization that you wanted to volunteer for. Or maybe you want to start your own business. Write it down. This is what you will be at in your halfway point as you charter your path towards your 20-year goal. You'll then move on to your 5 years. What would your life need to look like 5 years from now to be almost a quarter of the way to your vision? If at year 10 you expect to be a senior executive, then in year 5 you should have a role where you are entering the executive ranks. And you are definitely leading teams. Maybe you also paid off your student debt. After your 5-year plan, you'll work backwards and determine what your life needs to look like 1 year from now to be 20%, maybe 25% closer to that 5-year vision. Maybe it's managing a team, or maybe it's joining Toastmasters because being a compelling speaker is critical to your goals. On the personal front, maybe you'll pay off your credit card debts or set up a house hack so you don't have to pay your own rent. Whatever it is, write it all down 1 year from today, what it will look like. Once you have this all mapped out, congratulations. You now have a roadmap for your life, but more importantly, you've now created a decision framework for action. From this point on, after you create your 20-10-5-1 strategy, you now have a framework that guides you towards the path you have laid out for yourself and decisions to make and not make. If any decision advances you towards the 1-year decision, it's because it advances you to the 5, 10, or 20-year vision. And any decision that doesn't move you towards the 1-year vision is a detour from life you envision, and you need to proceed with caution. Now, don't worry, this doesn't mean that you can't do something that's not on your career master plan, like take a vacation. But the 20-10-5-1 plan acts as a decision compass for moving forward in your life. This is a very important and personal exercise, and I also encourage you to not take it too literally. Maybe a 30 or 10-year horizon is appropriate, or add a 2-year mark. The important part is to understand where you want to be in the future, define the milestones so you can assess if you're making progress along the way, and hold yourself accountable. Most people's career aspirations are vague and focus on the career field versus a specific destination or role. That's like saying you want to go to Europe when what you really want to do is get to Mont Blanc, the highest peak in Europe that shares the border with France and Italy. The more specific you are, the better you can figure out how to get to your destination. Further diluting the power of focus is that we often end up down a different path than we expected, and we don't ever recalibrate. There's nothing wrong with choosing a different path, but doing so without rethinking where you want to end up can leave a lot of unspent jet fuel. Yet this is how a lot of people steer their careers, and they never make it to Mont Blanc. Bottom line, if you want to accelerate your career year after year, then you have to build a plan to succeed. A big part of this process is to create a decision framework that you leverage every day to keep you moving forward towards your goals. 1 year from now, you will reflect on the progress you made, and you will be astounded by this progress. And you will take a look at possible places that you can recalibrate and pivot. That's okay. Remember, this doesn't have to be married to your career today. My hope is that you are thinking beyond this. This may or may not take you another direction completely. I've included an entrepreneurial example in the spreadsheet as well, so you can see what that might look like. Sky's the limit. I'll see you at the top. That's it for this lesson. I hope you found it valuable. If so, this is one of the core lessons from my Career Accelerator system. If you want the full course with the workbook, scripts, and bonus tools, you can get access at careeraccelerator.me. Or you can dive into the next lesson here.